I'm struggling to know if staying overseas in the Middle East is the right decision. I'm a contractor and I'm coming up on my year contract, and it's about over in like 2 months. So people is kind of asking, "Hey, are you going to stay? Are you going to renew your contract?" And the best answer that I can give them is, "We'll see." I hate to give them such a answer as such, but that's probably the best thing that I can do right now. I've been contracting now since 2020, and some people have been contracting for years, and they've been in the business. And when I look at myself as a contractor, the the first thing that I say to myself is, I love being overseas. Like I love being in the Middle East. And most people will be like, well, it's the Middle East. You should probably leave that alone. And I'm like, but why? Until you've actually lived over here, until you've actually experienced peace. And I know that's not a good word. That's probably not a word that you would use for the Middle East at the recording time of this video, but it's peaceful. Because see, here's the cycle that I continue to go through as a contractor. First of all, it took me forever to get in the door as a contractor. Second, I would do a year contract and then I'd be like, you know what? I'm going home. I want to be with my family. I love contracting. I love being overseas. I love what I'm able to do. I love getting on a plane and 2 hours later, hour 45 minutes later, I'm sitting in Dubai. You know, I can take a 3 hour flight and I'm sitting in front of the Great Pyramids of Egypt, or I'm walking around Turkey, or I'm in Abu Dhabi, or I can go to Bahrain, or I can go to all these places because everything here is in such close proximity of a real short flight. Versus being in the States and you got to travel 45 hours just to get to where you're going, and you're only gonna be there for a week. Being over here in this area, it brings so much to the table, and I love it. But I always say to myself, it's like, okay, my yearly contract is up, and I'm gonna go home because I miss my family, and that's the biggest X factor that I struggle with a lot because while I like the where I'm at, I like the traveling, the money's good, I like all that. I miss my family immensely. So when I decide to say, okay, hey guys, I'm leaving, I'm not staying another year, I'm gonna go home, I'm done. Then I get home and I kid you not, every single time that I get home to the United States of America, within a month and a half, my wife can look at me and tell me, you're ready to go back, aren't you? And I'm like, yes, I miss it. I miss the life, the peaceful life of just being overseas. And I'm an American, of course, as you can see, and I love my country. So this is no necessarily, I guess, a knock on my country, but it's just things that you just don't deal with while you overseas. And you see videos all over YouTube. You see people always moving to different countries and just tired of the hustle and bustle of the United States and the high cost of mortgages and the high cost of rent and the high cost of utility bills and the car payments. And it's just like when you get overseas, and depending on where you go at too overseas, it's so much more affordability. And the hustle or bustle of life, it just really just calms down. It just takes a different level of calmness. And you wake up in the morning and you don't feel like, what do I got to go deal with today? What's the hustle and bustle that I got to deal with today? And while America will always be home for me, and I love my country because I served my country for 20 years, so I guess I got to have some type of love. When I think about going back and living in the United States long term, at times I cringe. Is it the crime? Is it the high prices, as I just mentioned? Is it the major hustle and bustle? Is it that I gotta fit in with the person next to me, or I gotta drive the right car, or I gotta wear the right clothes, I gotta have on the right shoes? You know what I'm saying? Everything, it just feels like me being in the United States of America. It just really feels like you have to kind of put on a persona of who you're not. I don't try to live like the Joneses. I don't try to go out here and buy expensive cars. And I have a nice home, but trust me, my home is just really nice. But believe me, it ain't up there when you talk about the big dollar amount. It's within my budget of what I can afford, and I don't blink when I have to pay my mortgage. It doesn't keep me up at night worried about if I can pay my mortgage. So that's easy. But it's just it's hard to explain. And I guess if you sit around, if you talk to a bunch of contractors, or a lot of expats, as we are referred to, especially Americans, whether you're you know whether you're over here teaching, over here doing this, or whether you're over doing that, at like the end of the day, when you talk to like a lot of expats and like stuff like that, the thing that you realize is people are just really, really happy overseas. They are. And it's just the life things that you don't necessarily have to really deal with on a regular basis. It just makes life that much better. It does. And when I go outside, if I go to the store, if I walk inside the store, I don't have to panic knowing that I forgot, that I might have left my doors to my car open. I haven't locked my doors to my house in 3 months. Easy. Probably 4. Matter of fact, I don't think I've locked my house in 2026 yet. Not one time. My keys stay inside my mailbox all the time. I'm not worried about all of that stuff that you would worry about. If you at home, if you're there in my country, and if you think that you didn't lock your doors, you're gonna bust a U-turn and you're gonna go and you're gonna lock your doors. You're gonna go home and you're gonna make sure that my house is locked down, because even in a well put together neighborhood, your house is still a victim at times. It just is. And you don't worry about that stuff over here being overseas. Those are the kind of things that I'm talking about. And I don't want to make it seem like I'm running from the pressures of the United States. But life is short. So why should I have to live in fear? Why do I have to live where I'm not sure what's going to happen 5 minutes from now? So it's just me being overseas. So I struggle with this because I love being a contractor. I love what I do. I love being overseas. I love the calmness of it. But I also struggle with, when do I say, okay, is enough? Because trying to get my family to move overseas is asking my family to uproot everything that they got going on, and to stop and to be able to come overseas and spend time with me, or enjoy the life overseas with me as a contractor. Because I mean, you get treated different, you get looked at different. Now, is that by everybody? Probably not. Is there still dangers overseas? Absolutely it is. The biggest thing that I worry about over here is just the driving, and just being safe on the road. Driving is just insane. And I thought I was gonna get through my whole first year of contracting on this contract without a car accident. I got hit the other day, and I'm still waiting on the report. And 99.9% of the time, I'm gonna be at fault. It wasn't a bad accident. I got a couple of scratches on my car, and but the guy, he was too impatient, and he hit the front of my car. So it's like those kind of things you kind of worry about. But like outside of that, I'm telling you, when you get up in the morning, the peace of mind that you have from just being overseas. And once again, the only thing that I struggle with is just waking up every day or going to bed every day without my family. That's the biggest thing that concerns me. And I wish I was more motivated to get out and do stuff. Now I get out and I do stuff. Don't get me wrong. But if my family was here, then I realized that I would get to enjoy what this location has for me more than anything. So it's kind of like I'm here, and there's a little bit of guilt in me because I'm here and I'm able to do so much, and it's a peaceful way of life. But then I got my family back in the States, where look at you. And I always tell myself, look at yourself. You over here enjoying life, no care in the world. Just, don't, besides the driving, like I just said, besides that, you over here living free. Nobody's bothering you. Nobody's judging you. Nobody cares if you don't have the latest shoes on. No one cares if you don't have the latest clothes on it, or if you look a certain way. None of that. All of that stuff is so important in America. And when I come overseas, I can just dress like I want to dress. And I don't go outside looking like a bum, but I don't have to feel like I got to go outside looking like $1 million every time I walk out the front door. No. Now, you got some people who still dress really, really well over here when they go outside. But for most part, they'll tell you too. If I feel like today I want to go outside just looking like any kind of way, no one's gonna look at me and be like, ooh, what are they wearing? What does he got? Like, look at his shoes. His shoes is dirty. Like his shoes are old. No one's gonna look at you like that. No one's gonna judge you. So it's just that mental capacity of just knowing that it's so peaceful over here. And the only thing that's missing for me is my family. And people, the number one thing that when I talk to other contractors and they have spoken to their families, the number one thing that they hear is be safe and watch your surroundings. And as contractors being over here, we try not to laugh too hard. But I'm seriously, no, no, we tell the same thing. No, no, no. You be safe. You make sure you set your alarm at night. You make sure that you lock your doors at night. Like I'm talking about, like I haven't locked my doors in 2026. I can leave the country on vacation today, and I can walk out my front door, and my front door will stay unlocked. I don't because you're not worried about that kind of thing. You're not worried about people coming in your house and stealing stuff. That's the difference. So it's like why wouldn't I want to live in an environment like this where you're not stressing about all that stuff, where you can just be in an environment where you could just live life and you could just enjoy it. But the thing that I need the most is my family. And that's the thing that bothers me is because I can't be there with them. And I struggle with that because I know that now I got a strong wife, and my wife, she understands that what I do is just that this provides for the family, and it's good money. So she's okay with me going away. But there's been maybe one time that I did it, that maybe at towards the end of the contract she said, "Hey, can you come home?" So I was like, "No problem." And when she asked me to come home, I was like, "You know what? No problem. This contract, I'm not going to renew it." And I went home. But she knew that when I got home, I wasn't the same. I can come home, I can get a job, I can work, but every day she sees it in the back of my eyes. It's like something's missing with this guy. This guy's ready to go back overseas. And true enough, it is. And even old co-workers, they're like, "Hey man, when you gonna stop doing these year contracts and come over and commit for long term? Like why you keep going back and forth? Why you come over here? As soon as you get home, I'll be like, hey man, if you got a job, keep me in mind." Bro, didn't you just leave like 2 months ago? Like, what are you doing asking for a job already? They know. They say, dude, we told you don't go home. We said, man, go home, take your 30-day vacation, whatever, and then come on back. Nope. I haven't taken that advice yet. I just resigned. My time is up. I'm not redoing my contract. So maybe my contract that ends in June. I think I got something else lined up that I can do, but I can't say anything yet until everything is official. And that's another reason why I can't give them an answer too as well, because I don't really know. When you get into the contract work, until you get into, especially like if you have a job, like that new contract job is not guaranteed until you get the email and they tell you you're good. Everything's checked out. Your immigration's checked out. You're all ready to set to come to the country. Let's start planning your flight to get over here. Or you can resign from your old job. You can put that in, and then we can get ready for you to start coming over, to the new job or whatever. So until that really happens, I can't really move forward with telling anybody what I'm going to do, and that kind of makes it hard as well too. But once again, living overseas as a contractor, and you start to understand, and you start to love, and you start to enjoy being overseas. And look, so many people would never leave their state. So many people would just stay right in their one little state, and they think that this is the world. It's a big world out there, people, and it's fun and it's enjoyable. And if the little part of the world that you're in and whatever you're doing, step outside of it sometimes, and think outside the box, because I I enjoy I enjoy what I do. And if I can just somehow have my family with me, I wonder how long it would be before I would want to ever live back in the United States again. But I got to keep my mind, I got to keep my family in mind too. And as much as I love this, I struggle with coming home and staying home just because I'm ready to get back. And it ain't the money. Believe me, I've taken maybe one or two pay cuts, getting new jobs just to go back overseas. So it's not necessarily the money, it's just the peace that comes along with it. But I feel selfish, and I just put it out there. I feel selfish by leaving my family behind. But my family, they support me on this decision. And we have continuous contact daily, multiple times, talking and laughing and all this kind of stuff. But it ain't the same with physically being there to hug your family members. So I've been wanting to come over here and do that for a while. I'm going to try to get Second Take back up and going because these are the type of conversations that I like. These are the kind of talks that I like to have, and I hope to have more people on here so we can talk about life, just talk about what's going on, everything up under the sun. We want to have a conversation about it. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you haven't already, please smash that like button for the show. It will be deeply appreciated. And until next time, this is Second Take. I'm Michael. We out.